Good morning, gamers. It is Friday, November 1st. November 1st, holy shit. And it's 70 degrees out at about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning. It's gonna be 80 today. And it's, I think, the fourth time in the last 80 plus years where I live where it's gonna be 80 degrees on this date. Pretty crazy. Yeah, it was, I think, almost, well, it's freezing 2 nights ago, and now it's 80 again. So, what the fuck? Anyway, that's my weather report for today. I want to talk a little bit more about the server merges. The server merges that already happened, and the potential server merge with the North American servers. I covered, as I said in the last video, I did a video about a year ago about this whole thing. And the last video I made was the day before the European servers merged. So they've been merged for a few days now, and the results seem promising. Have way higher averages, and the peaks are way higher. Go figure, that's what happens when... This is just in the road, I guess. Go figure, that's what happens when you combine two pretty active servers. So now a lot of people that really, if you're somebody who hasn't played or didn't play during escalation, or you're a newer player to the game and have never experienced a server with 800 plus people on it at the same time, plus more, you've never seen peaks 1,500 players at once on a server, the game probably feels way more alive to you. And that's a good thing. This game, after all, is an MMO, and the players are the content. All right, so those numbers are probably going to go higher this weekend, 100%, because all the 9 to 5 Saturday, Sunday off normies are going to be logging in, and they're going to have a grand old fucking time. And my piece of advice to you guys when it comes to these server merges is enjoy it while it lasts. All right? Log in, play the game, have fun. With more populations, more choices for fights, more of everything that has to do with what makes the game, or what makes every other game pale in comparison to PlanetSide 2. All right? But just know that these server merges, once you got, let's just say that there's no more levers to pull, okay? There's no more levers to pull once you merge these servers. There aren't any more easy button levers to pull. Not saying that the process was easy, because it apparently took them a really long time to figure out how to even do this, but once you pull those levers, they're not going back. There'd be no reason to go back. There's no easy way to double the player count on the server that you're playing on anymore. Barring really insanely good game updates, which I don't know about you guys, but if you've been watching the state of development from Toadman, or any development in the last couple of years, I don't think any of them have the balls to make any of the changes that would probably help the game. And judging from what was teased and taken off PTS, by the way, the fishing update. Oh, someone commented on my last video, hey, one of those snarky things, hey, at least we got fishing. Well, we didn't even get fishing. So yeah, didn't even get fishing, guy. So, God forbid. Anyway, you Euro guys, you guys who play on Miller and Cobalt, enjoy the time you've got, because when the pop starts dropping on your mega merge server, you're not going to have another server to go on to over there. I mean, I guess you could go on Emerald, but strictly speaking, Europe-wise, it's only down to one server. Now, Oh, and when it comes to the Euro, guys, there's some people who were mad that they couldn't have a 2KD res grenade throwing fest to determine the name of the server. Who cares? If you still care about that at this point, you're missing the forest for the trees. Okay? Yeah. Now, back to the United States part of this thing. The Connery and Emerald potential merge, which I don't even know if it can be the thing. As I said in the last video, the circumstances between the data centers in Europe, which are, I think, probably in the same fucking room or rack, is quite a bit of a different experience in the United States. The servers in San Diego for Connery, and the servers in Ashburn, Virginia, which is 90 miles from where I am, by the way. That's why I've always had... I kind of lucked out, I guess, geographically, because I'm about 90 miles from the data center where everybody puts their East Coast server, so I always have like single digit to low double digit ping in every game. It's pretty awesome. Would advise. But yeah, they are separated by 2,667-ish miles, which for you European lads, and I'm not going to do the conversion to kilometers because fuck you, that would be about the same distance between Amsterdam and 200 miles east of Moscow. To give you a little perspective, or if you could drive straight from Amsterdam to Istanbul, that'd be about the equivalent. Now, I've seen some people on various platforms advocate or wish or hope for some reason to split the difference for some weird reason and place maybe the servers in the Midwest in the United States, like in Chicago or Dallas, or God forbid Houston, or either Texas or Illinois. And I don't really know what... I guess the only logical reason you would have to propose that is that you are some Asian Pacific Islander or some Asian player, or you play from China, or you play from Australia, or you play from Japan, or you play somewhere over there, and you want to somehow still play on a North American server. Okay, well, guess what? I'm not interested in that, and I don't care. And quite frankly, there's not enough of you left still playing for me to make everybody have to deal around you. You're not that big of a group. You're not big enough to warrant that kind of change. And I think if they did do that, that would be a mistake. And I'll tell you why that would be a mistake. You guys over in the Southeast Asian region have a server. Now, it's called Soltech, and for whatever reason, you guys don't want to play on it. That's been the case for a long time. Or you have Briggs people who moved over to Connery after Briggs closed down, because Briggs was all fucked up. If you want a lesson on what the fuck happened to Briggs, go ask Kamikaze. He'll tell you. Yeah. So you guys all moved over to Connery, and Soltech wasn't even a thing yet. So then Soltech got put out. You can play on Soltech, but as with other servers and other situations, you now have established characters on Connery. And I get that. So at the same time, while I sympathize with you, at some point you guys in the Southeast Asia region, and especially you Australian guys, you got to come to terms with the fact that throughout the history of this game just doesn't give a fuck about you. Be that as it may, yeah, I've met some cool Australian dudes that play, but I've also met some of the worst people in the fucking game and some of the biggest scumbags in terms of playstyle and in general humans possible from that region. So I'm not really that sad about losing that section of the player base, if I'm honest. Okay? Yeah. Also, most of the people, I would venture, as I mentioned in the last video, most of the people in the United States live east of the Mississippi River. Or they live in the corridor where I live, in between Washington, D.C. and Boston, up in that corridor. A lot of people there. A lot of fucking people. Okay? And we're playing on the East Coast server. Some of you guys play on the European servers, but whatever. Why do you do that? Yeah. Moving the Ashburn server 1,500 miles out into the fucking farmland to accommodate a squad and a half or a platoon of Australians, or the guys that actually physically live on the West Coast, doesn't really make that much sense to me. And trust me, as someone who's played, I've pretty much played, I guess I've played from the East Coast, where I am now. I've played from Central Texas, where I lived for 5 years. And I've played from South Korea. And I think the ping difference, like, my ping on Emerald now is something like, it ranges between 10 and 25, 30 at the worst. And I can't remember the last time I even checked my ping to Connery, but it'd be somewhere probably around 60 or 70 at this point. And I guess depending on your routing, if you're playing from the West Coast, and you're connecting to Connery, which, by the way, none of you are doing anyway. All you guys that, for all the people that constantly spout and talk about how Connery's dead, you know what would be really interesting is if you guys just had an event where you all logged in on Connery and just played the fucking game. You could do that, since I don't think, I get the reasons why people stop playing on Connery, because they let the server, Rail and his friends, let the server rot for fucking, what was it, 3, 4, 5 months? 1 year? I get why you guys left, but I think those issues have been resolved and just nobody went back. Okay. Or you all moved to Emerald anyway, because we had more pop anyway. You could go, you all could go back and play on Connery whenever you wanted, but you just won't. Okay, that's fine. I don't really have a problem with that. I just find it curious sometimes. I guess you like your new home. And I guess when people go to log in on Connery and they look and see that there's fucking 40 people online all day, and the majority of them are players from the other side of the world, I can understand why you wouldn't want to log in and play. I get it. So, if it's even possible, if you're truly a person on the West Coast, your ping's not going to be that much worse. And you PlanetSide 2 players don't really seem to give a fuck about latency and how it interacts with an FPS game. They don't care. I guess they treat it like, I don't know, man. It's like, I've played with people, I've played and raided with people in WoW. And to me, high ping always felt bad. And man, I guess from like hardcore raiding and stuff, it can make a difference to how I play in terms of like hardcore, like speed running. But I think for the average player in a game like WoW, a real MMORPG, it doesn't really make that much of a difference to them if they played with 30 ping or 130 ping. In an FPS game, especially a game that has a netcode the way it is in PlanetSide 2, it makes a big fucking difference. But anyway, like I've said before, PlanetSide 2 players don't really give a shit about what latency they play. I mean, you have people that have 80 to 100 ping playing from North America and say, I have a really solid, good connection. Dude, 80 to 100 ping in an FPS game isn't fucking good. And it's, in other games especially, 80 to 100, 80 is pushing it. 70 to 80 is at the upper end of starts to feel bad. depending on the game. But this game, a little bit different. I guess what I'm getting to is, I guess I said it really. I don't really give a shit about Australians. Go play on Soltec. If you're from the Pacific, play on Soltec. And if you don't want to play with Chinese cheaters, then you need to get on, well, first you'd have to overcome the culture of cheating in China, and then get on the game developers to fucking do something about it. But we've seen how long that takes and how ineffective they are. So yeah, I don't know that Connery and Emerald will be merged. I know that if it does get merged, probably have about the same kind of gains we're talking about with Miller and Cobalt merging. And that's good. That'll be, maybe depending on balance stuff, it might be the last time that the game is in a semi-decent playable situation. And as I have commented and replied to people in the past, I need people to realize that server merges aren't a fix for a terminal illness. And the terminal illness is the brain damage that has infected everyone who tries to work on the game. That's a terminal fucking illness, and it will kill the game eventually. So merging servers is one last little lever that you can pull to put the game in a more comfortable state. Hospice, if you will. Your patient is going to die 100%, and we love our patient and we care for our patient. And the best thing we can do right now, since we've exhausted everything that medically that we can do, yeah, we need to make them comfortable. We're going to send them home to be around their family and friends, and we're going to make them comfortable until they finally kick the bucket. And that's where we are with the server merges. Server merges were never going to be a long-term solution or a fix to the things that are wrong with the game. It is a short-term fix for a long-term problem. And ultimately, that's the downside of situation with the multiple teams that have worked on the game. It didn't have to get to this point. It shouldn't have gotten to this point, but alas, it has. So for my European friends, enjoy it while it lasts. And as for my North American friends, if it's even feasible to merge our servers, enjoy that while it lasts. Because it'll probably, barring another maybe once in a generation global event that somehow magically brings 10,000 peak players back to the game, one last hurrah. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go enjoy the rest of my day not playing PlanetSide 2.